Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the J and K Talks Today's Relationship Show. What's up, K?
What's up? It's the first show of the year. Oh, you finally got it right.
Yep. First show of the year. First show of the year. Actually, really the second show of the year. But the first one that we actually actually doing an actual live show because we did a podcast.
Show, right.
Yeah, we did a podcast last week. And
Jay finally got it right. Oh, how are you tonight, Jay?
Oh, I'm on it. Yep. Yep, live and revived.
Oh my.
Yep. All right. So today, actually really all this month, and going into next month, we're going to kind of like dealing with this love thing.
The love thing.
Yeah, all this month going into next month, just get ready for Valentine's Day. All right. Like that song say, sock it to you, sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me. All right, anyway, but
that made me just think about something. I know you haven't given a topic yet, but it made me think about something that happened at work Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The ladies was in there talking about Valentine's Day. And one of the ladies, she's an older lady, but she calls herself a cougar. Okay? She like them young. She's 60. She don't like them above 35. So she was sitting there talking about how
that sounds like a cougar.
Her and her, she was
all right,
talking
anyway.
about how her latest boo thing, and her had split up. And one of the other ladies said, "You crazy. It would take a whole lot for men to split up with me a month before Valentine's Day." And that made me think about something like, are there people really out there plotting and planning like that? They unhappy and they really want to break up with somebody, but they go hold on, until Valentine's Day. She said, well, one of the ladies said was, it ain't no breaking us up between December the 24th and February the 16th.
There ain't gonna be no breaking up.
There's going to be no breaking up between December 24th and February the 16th. And that kind of lead us into our topic today. What's our topic for today?
Yeah, the topic today is, are you looking for love? And if you find it, will you know what it is? They're talking about love, that is. Will you know what love is? And if you do know what it is, does it act alone or in a partnership?
Now, you know what's crazy about that? That topic title made me think about, I'm going to show my age now. That Genesis song that, us black people took over and made it into a gospel song. But we're going to talk about the original version. But the Genesis, the R.E.S.B. Anyway, it was, I want to know what love is.
Oh, yeah, I want to know what love is.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then we took it and turned it into a gospel song.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about it in the original frame that it was written in, what he said was, I want you to show me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm like, why would you want somebody else to show you what love? I want to know what love is, but I want you to show me what love is. That's kind of backwards to me.
Yeah, those were the words. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. Yeah.
Yep. But you know, we turned it into a gospel song. Before it was a gospel song, it was a very popular song on the pop station.
Right.
And I think no, it wasn't Genesis. I'm gonna mess around and figure out who sang that in a little bit further into the show. But when you listen to the original, I'm like, why would somebody say, I want to know what love is, but I want you to show me? Shouldn't you already know? Why would you need for somebody else to show you what love is? Is it because of the things that they doing for you? You know, you say that too, Jay. You know, it's the things that they do for you, to you. You know, those things, is that what love is?
All right. Yeah, I do be saying that a lot. Things they, you know, I mean, that outlook counts, but I think we depend as people. You know, I was also guilty. I mean, you know, I'm gonna be honest, folk. I mean, I didn't always have the view that I have now, and you know, let me put this disclaimer in here, or a claimer, maybe a claimer. But you know, on this show, we're not telling anybody what to do, how they supposed to act, or we just throw out some things that are food for thought. You know, maybe might challenge you to you know to a different way of thinking or whatever. If you accept that, that's on you. We're not saying what's the right way or wrong way. We have our personal views on things. You know, we do appreciate that a lot of people have been helped and have admired some of our views in the help of their growing to different levels in relationship. However, that was the disclaimer. But and partially a claimer. But I'll say that yes, I do say that quite often. That and like I said, also being guilty at one time in my life. But we pay attention, I believe, too much to getting to know a person or figuring a person out or calling it, like you were saying, Lady Kate, love, or calling it, giving it a title, by paying attention to what people do to us, for us, and with us, rather than more so paying attention to what the same person is doing to other people, with other people, and for other people. Because if you find a difference in the person, what they do for you rather than what they do for other people or with other people, and to, you know, all that, if you find a difference in a person, you might want to start doing some evaluation. But if you find confirmation that this person is the same in attitude, the same in the character, in other words, they can talk sweet and nice to you, but they talk nasty and ugly and disrespectful to everybody else. Eventually, what you see them do, what they're doing to everybody else, is going to eventually come back to you.
And you know what's crazy? It's like I know of a young lady right now, and she should know better. I'm sorry to say, but she's above 30 something, and got about 3-4 children. And the things that she says that her live-in boyfriend says and does, you know, I knew a month ago it was an escalation. And I'm thinking to myself the whole time, you're talking about moving in with this person, you know. I wanted to tell her so that I did tell her in a non-direct kind of way. You need to think about that, because it was an escalation, and I was seeing that it was an escalation. Well, just the other day, they were playing around, quote unquote, playing around with the knife, and she cut it. And she said the first thing he hollered was, "Ooh, you cut me." Then she turned from this big early man that was being aggressive towards her, acting like some little kid. oh, I need a bandage. I need a bandage. I can't believe you cut me. And I'm like, so how did that make you feel? When he said to you, I can't believe you cut me. And she said, I felt bad. I said, well, why bad? No harm, no foul. This lady can't talk it. I said, he was coming at you aggressively. Okay? You about 102 pounds soaking wet. He's about 180. You know, but he made you feel like, in a way, this was your fault. You know, you're supposed to feel sorry for him, but he's coming at you aggressive. I said, I don't understand that. And she just kind of stood there and looked at me. And I said, abuse is never okay. I said, no matter what form it takes. I said, I've seen y'all relationship and how you talk. Escalate, escalate, escalate. That's not love. I said, that's not love. I said, love is not supposed to hurt. Physically, emotionally, it's mentally. It's not supposed to hurt. And going back to the Bible says that love is the first commandment. We're to love one another. They don't say nothing in the Bible about love hurting people. Physically, mentally, emotionally. It doesn't say anything in the Bible about that.
Yes.
Not that, not that I'm getting on that, but the thing is that, it's not supposed to do those things. That's not love. I really don't know what I call that dysfunction.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it says. But, yeah, I agree with you. Go ahead.
That's dysfunction. And to me, it's so many women out there mistaking dysfunction for love.
Oh yeah, I agree with you, because if we're gonna do a Bible related thing, and I do believe that most of the country are I would say religious. There are not as many non-religious people as there are religious. I'll say religious minded. I need to say that, because I'm trying not to get too technical in the Bible, because I could go. I have this thing that's playing in my mind with 2 Timothy 3 and talking about the last days, and some that I have when it gets down to that 5th verse, and some that will have a look like they are godly and Christians and all that. I just so I'm trying to not be so technical, but I'll just say those that most of the country is religious minded. Maybe that'd be a very fair and safe way to say it, which includes those that scripture says. There'll be some that look like they're religious but have no God in them. But anyway, but however, saying that the religious view in love, it says love esteems, love does not look for bad to happen to the person, or anything negatively that happened to a person, and that means the self even bringing that to the table. So and so in love, presses toward a mark, and love is patient. And, they talks about bringing a person up, including yourself, because we have to even ask that question: do we sometimes even love our own self? So but yeah, I agree with you. Love does not is if it's going to be authentic love, does not bring nothing harmful or degrading or down falling to another person. So,
some people, Jay, they think that love is perfect. I like those people that think love is perfect. Okay?
Mm.
I have yet to see a perfect relationship.
Well, when
If
you
it's
find,
not out there,
mm,
call in and let me know.
yeah, when you
Because
find that perfect
people,
person, mm,
yeah, people are different. People have their moments. Everybody has a moment. The best Christian has a moment here and there.
mm-hmm.
You know, we are not perfect. And when people say to me, oh, we have the perfect relationship, we feel the same about everything. I'm like, everything? I don't know if I can really deal with somebody that felt the same about everything. What do you have to talk about?
I'm not gonna say that it doesn't exist, but I'm very skeptical. I haven't seen the presence of the existence. I I'm gonna say now my percentage of the possibility is beyond extremely low. uh, that
I
two
believe,
people can
I
agree
believe
on
you can have
every
a
single, and
good
that we
relationship.
said
I believe
every.
you can have a great relationship. I just don't think you can have a perfect relationship.
Yeah, I really find that very very hard to see that there are two people that are exactly, and remember, if there's just one thing that kills exactly or kills every, the word every to be applied, to be I mean in common with everything, I that's an extreme. That I believe that'll happen when Jesus come back. Uh, um, uh, hey, um, but workable, yes. That two people can be workable in everything. I can see that workable in everything, meaning that you may not agree, but you know you can come to the point that you can be comfortable, that you can go on even though you have a disagreement. You know, as the saying, we disagree but agree, or agree to disagree. You know, we're not the same on it, but we'll come to a common place where we'll both be satisfied with a common denominator, is about it. So.
But you know what's funny? My husband and I ride in the car together all the time,
Hmm.
and our taste in music is it depends on what's playing. Now, he loves rock and roll. He loves hard rock and roll. He loves some groups I've never heard of before. And he heard of this guy named Roy Gallagher. And the only reason I know Roy Gallagher like I know Roy Gallagher is because he got hooked on this one song. And he played it for days in the car.
Hmm.
And after a while, even I started bopping my head to Roy Gallagher, because it was becoming ingrained on my memory. And I was like, wait a minute, we got to switch this up. So to make it easier for him, I said, sweetheart, do you have any Eagles on your MP3 player or on your iPod?
Mm-hmm.
So he said, yeah. So I eased him up off of Roy Gallagher into something a little bit better, suited for me. And then I've been in the car, and he's been like, well, listen to whatever you want to listen to. And yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I am, but I like old school. I mean 70s and 80s old school. And I was playing some Emotions, and I was just singing away. And he looked at me, he said, I don't know that song, but you sure did sound pretty singing it. But the thing is that, he really doesn't like personally that kind of music, but because it was something that I liked, he tolerated it, and you know, and he was like, I don't know that song, but you sounded pretty, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny because I had him put some music on my iPod for me, and I was going through it the other day, and this is music off of his laptop, not mine. And I heard Yarborough and Peoples, and I went, So I called him. I said, what you know about that? He said, I fooled you, didn't I? But the thing is that, you know, we have our differences, and they are drastic at certain points. But at the end of the day, it's nothing that's going to cause a major incident. You know, it's those differences that I love about it, because I like, you know, different things. He likes different things. I learn from him. He learns from me. And it's all about a learning and a growing process. Love is something that should never, ever, ever be constant. It should always be moving. You know,
Right.
If something is constant, it's stagnant.
Right.
If something is stagnant, it's dead. Or it's deadly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, love should flow. It should be something that is constantly moving. So I think that that's a good thing. You know, I got used to Roy Gallagher, and he liked the emotion. So it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. But, you know, like the topic said, you know, people say that they're in love. How do you know?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know? How do you know? What are the things that you're looking for?
Mm-hmm. And I,
you know?
Mm-hmm. And even to add to that question, you know, when you say, like you just brought it up, you know, how do you know if you're in love or when you're in love? But not only if and when, but who you're in love with, or what you're in love with. I mean,
you know what confuses me, Jada? What confuses me is when people say they are in love with 2 or 3 people at the same time. That confuses me.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they have love for this other person, but they are actually in love. They believe this, that they are in love with 2 or more people at the same time.
Yeah, I hear that. You know, I tend to try to find out what kind of love that folks, because you know, even in the religious field, there are different types of love with God. You know, you got agape love. You have gosh, I'm now, why did words just go out of my vocabulary? But you do have different types of love, and what's the other one? Fellatio. You have gosh, man, I just went blank all of a sudden. I just had one of them moments.
People that are like in these polygamous relationships.
Right. But
okay.
Right.
Not just the Mormons.
Right.
It's some Muslim families that I know of. You know, and they will say that I'm in love with all of my wives, and I'm like,
Yeah. I really try because we use that 4-letter word so abundantly as if it has one definition or one purpose. And it's it's kind of in there's love the noun, there's love the verb, there's love the adverb, and love the adjective. Um, pronoun. I'm sorry, pronoun, not adjective. Pronoun. Um, and in each one of those forms, it has a different application.
Right.
And even with eros love, uh, it still has a different application, because you can have eros love and not have agape love for somebody.
That's right.
You could actually, and I'm a witness to this. I'm telling our audience, I am a true witness to this. Back when I was young, high school, still in my really wild days and all that, I know I'm telling off some stuff. I know, but it's only to help folks see a little point. Um, Back in my really young high school days, when you see on TV when the kids were having house parties and stuff, well, this was a house party. Okay.
You used to go to house parties.
Yeah, I used to go to house parties. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. All right. Yeah.
And I hope Pastor Jay not listening today.
I done already confessed. Like the scripture said. Like the scripture said, when I was a kid, I thought like a kid, but when I came, I had to man up. I had to man up and confess some things. Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have been there to see that conversation, but go ahead.
But you know what? See, I'm going to get back on this. I have to take a left curve here, because I already know what some people are thinking, because you made this comment about the pastor and all that. But just because I'm a pastor or preacher's kid, the folk want to always say, "Oh, see, I knew it, because preacher kids are always bad. They the worst one." No, it ain't.
PKs are the worst
That is not true. No, that is not true. Folk, I got to I'm putting a claimer. This is not a disclaimer. This is a claimer. A claimer statement on this one. For all the preacher kids in the whole world, I'm speaking up. I'm your attorney today. I'm fixing to lay it out for the sake of all the preacher kids in the world that exist, and even the one that have died and passed on. All right. All right. Here's the case, folks. That myth and that folklore that folk put out there, that preachers' kids are the worst kids. About the PK. Now, just because they PKs does not mean they the worst kids on earth. Now, here's what was really happening. Let me set the psychology straight. It's because people have been molded to putting the preacher. That's where it starts. To putting the preacher up on a pedestal as being God. And because they put the preacher up on the pedestal as being like God, that of course this offspring, or their offspring, their kids, are supposed to be like Jesus. Jesus, God, Father, Son. You know what I'm saying? Okay, are supposed to be like little Jesuses. Okay, that
little Jesuses.
Yeah, little Jesuses. Yeah. They put the preacher up to be like God, who's supposed to be so perfect. And first of all, we know that they're still human and they're not perfect. But that's where it starts. Then they make these little Jesuses.
Jesuses again.
Yeah, Jesuses.
Jesus is singular and plural.
And so with people's eyes are so focused on this family that they have made into a deity who's not supposed to make mistakes and do no wrong or operate at no time in the flesh. So their eyes are so focused on this so-called high-level family. Now, kids are just kids. And kids do what kids do. And I'm going to tell you, that folk miss what a lot of times what their own kids are doing, which are sometimes a lot of times worse than what the preacher kid is doing. But they won't see that because they too much focusing on the PKs so that they can point them out rather than to focus on kids just being kids.
So we'll see.
But the bottom line is, just because they're PKs does not make them the worst kids. They are, if they do something as an individual and it's bad, then call the individual bad. Not because they're PK.
That's true.
Yeah, not because they're PK. Call the individual bad. If they do things that are good, call the individual good. Not because they're PK. So I had to set the record straight on that. All right.
Now we want to hear about the house party.
Okay, the house party. All right. On the house party, here's what went down. All right. Remember I said, but my reason I'm going into this because I was saying you can have eros love, but not have agape love for somebody. And we know eros has to do with sexual. All right. All right. So, at this house party, practically everybody pretty much got, we've been drinking, and there were some people who got really kind of wasted. Some, okay, and here, you always have these groupies. When you're kids and teens and all that, you have these groupies. The girl, you had the guys and all their buddies. You had the girls and all their friends, their girlfriends, whatever. All right. So you had these little groups. All right. So, there was one guy out of the male group and a female out of the girls group who couldn't stand each other. That means they literally made it well known how much they would say the word hate each other.
Wow.
However, the two of them had gotten so drunk that they wound up in bed together, like you see on some of the comedy movies. Like you see on some of the comedy movies sometimes. And they wound up in bed together. Now, they came out, and we all witnessed this. Them coming out of the room. And, we all knew what was up when they came out of the room. So, they came out of the room, fussing and cussing each other out, playing the hate game. Now, when we all in our separate groups, this is after the party, a few days after. The girl telling her girlfriends that it was the best sex she had, and the guy telling us guys it was the best sex he had. But they said we'll never hook up. That was just it. It just happened, but it was great. But they couldn't stand each other. So, as I said, you could have eros love, but you may not have agape love. And I'm a witness to that. Huh?
That's just some straight craziness.
There's a lot of craziness in this world, I'm gonna tell you now. So and that has stuck with me, that view, that understanding, because when you take two people who can't stand each other to come out and say that and it gave me more in depth to that experience, and that witnessing gave me more in depth to the theology, I guess you would say, or outlook, when it pertained to sex in a relationship, or sexual relationships with people. When I began to evaluate, because here you have two people who couldn't stand each other, who actually voiced how much they hated, using the word hated each other. But also, because it happened, was honest enough to say that the sexual experience they had was great. So what does that entail? Say that you don't have to be in love with somebody to have great sex, or satisfied sex. I mean, or sexual satisfaction. I mean, you don't. So that's what it shared with me, because it killed a rule of thumb, or a rule of foundation that many people had set to say that tend to say that sex is not good unless you're really in love with a person. But here you have testimony from two people that's saying totally different. And I'm sure they know whether or not it was good or not. Okay. Okay. I'm sure. All right.
That's funny.
So
that's crazy too, though.
It is crazy, but it does present evidence. And I believe that many times, based upon a lot of things, I believe we can brainwash ourselves by a lot of things that we say. We can say stuff like, well, I'm not having, listen to how I say the word, good sex, because I'm not in love with the person, or the person's not in love with me, so the sex is obviously cannot be good. And if you prompt your mind to actually believe in that, then most likely your mind is going to become rejective to the possibility that it might have been good if your focus might have been right. But I'm not also I'm not implying that people should just go have spontaneous, or out, way out there flirty sex engagement just to find that out. Okay. All right. I'm not implying that. I'm just stating some things to think about. That's all.
It's just interesting that that whole thing even happened, because that's just craziness.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Like I was telling Jay, I said I've been to one house party my entire life, and I was like 14 years old, and it was my birthday party, and I did not have a good time. So I did not have those types of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. I mean, when you go down and to try to define what love is.
Right.
How do you know it's love?
Yeah, how do we know it's love?
Because I feel a certain way.
Right.
It's love because he buys me this, or she bought me that. It's love because, And then you see it on these court shows all the time because I love Judge Judy. I do. I watch Judge Judy almost every day. And at least 4 or 5 times a week, because she comes on twice a day. There's somebody on there that says, I was in love, and he brought me all of these things while we were together, and now we broken up, he want all his money back. You know, was that love? Or was he trying to buy your affection? Or did he buy your affection at that particular point in time?
I tell you another one that they be saying. Now they be saying they love. Now I know another part that's attached to the scriptures, that love never ceases. Okay. Now, which is going to get, we're going to get back to the where you were talking about people talking about being in love with multiple people, the same degree. We're going to get back to that one, but love never ceases. So when folks be talking all, so much, I'm in love with you, I got love for you, and then something happened. Now you saying, I don't love you no more. I just realized I didn't really love you like that. Possibly, you may not have never been in love with that person. Right? Because actually, love never ceases. And to get back to where you made that comment about, some people be saying they in love with 2 or 3 more people. I mean, I'm with you on that. I don't see how people can be in love the same degree.
Yeah.
The same degree. Now, you might have love, but that's why I tend to ask, well, what kind, try to define what kind of love is it? Because sometimes people don't even pay attention to what kind of love they actually have for a person. It may be just love as friends. Love, may not be romantic love. I'm sure people can we can have friendly love for as many people as we can allow. But that real romantic, enchanting, cherishing, abiding, couple love, it's no way you can have that same exact measurement for the same other person, for the different other person. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Because that's where I get to where the Bible comes in and says you will either love one master and hate the other. There's no way you could do the exact same for 2.
You know what? I saw something I'm a Facebook junkie. I saw something on Facebook the other day that just struck me. It said when Adam was in the Garden of Eden and he was lonely, God made him one woman. Not 2 or 3. He made one.
Yep.
To be his partner. So his helpmate. So, and when I read that, I was like, man, I like that, I put it on my page. But it's so true. I mean, why do some people feel as though, multiple relationships is the way to go? It was in my opinion, this is Lady K talking. In my opinion, it's a lot of work. One relationship is a lot of work. Okay, no relationship. If people say it's not work, yeah, it's work. It's work to maintain your relationship. Not the type of work that's tedious or tiring or something that you're not looking forward to, but it is work. I mean, it doesn't just happen on its own. There's no sustainability all on its own. It's work. It's progress. You have to make time for each other. You have to communicate with each other. These are things that are necessary in order to have a successful relationship. Time, communication, commitment, dedication, all of those things are necessary, to have some form of success in your relationship. Because when you're trying to do that with 2, 3, and 4 people, that's a job.
Yeah.
That's a job. That's a lot of work. And then the main trick of the day is keeping everybody from finding out about the other one. But now we have all of this internet stuff and psychos. You could be talking to someone on the internet who's in California and be in a relationship with them. You could be in a relationship with someone in Georgia, and you're living up in New York, upstate New York. It's crazy to me how you can do all of these things, basically by the internet. And some people say, they love the internet. Internet dating is great. Internet dating is this, that, and the third. But internet dating has destroyed a lot of relationships. It's helped some relationships, that's true. But it has destroyed a lot of relationships because there's so much out there. And once it's out there, it's out there. Can't bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
I watch crime shows, and there are people who have stuff on their computers, and they delete it. It's never truly gone. Those people have, I forget what they call them, some type of forensic computer technicians. I can't think of the correct name for it right now, that can find anything on your computer because it's all of this space on the computer, and the only way that it gets totally white is because it's being rewritten or overwritten on.
Mm-hmm.
What was there is always there. You may think it's gone, but it's still there. It's how they're catching people with kitty porn and all kinds of craziness, because that information is still there. It's still available. And it hurts. I mean, it hurts your partner. A lot of times when people are in these situations, they're thinking of self. They're not thinking about their partner. And I always wonder this, if you don't want to be in a committed serious relationship anymore, then why play the game? Why try to have me and someone else? You say it all the time on the show. There's always a sign.
Oh yeah, there's always a sign. And a lot of times, as you put it, you put that question, asking the other person why, why are you keeping me around? Why are you still trying to court or hang on to me, and you got somebody else also involved? That puts me at where you started off in the very beginning. Asking somebody to show you love. In other words, you're putting recognition and choice of action. This is what I call it: choice of action in the hands of someone else. And in other words, you're not taking responsibility for your own actions, for your own life, as to where you needed to be or desire for it to be, but you're allowing somebody else to define your life. You want somebody to show you love when it's your responsibility to actually know what love is, or at least what love is to you, at least that much. But in the same case, why even ask someone else when you find out that there's someone else involved, that it's you, me, and she, or she, me, or he, she, and me, or whatever, so remember that show. But anyway, when you find out that it's someone else other than the two of you all involved, I mean, really, here, listen to how I say this. You're putting in the responsibility in the other person's hand when you ask them, why would you let me stay, here I said, have me or let me stay in this relationship with you, because you're wanting them to break it off. In other words, But what if they don't? But what if, you see how I'm saying it? But what if they don't step up to the plate to what you're asking? Then who's responsible for making the decision for where you need to be or where you want to be or desire to be? It's still going to come back to be in your hands.
And that's it.
Yeah. And so
that's it. I want to know what love is. Mm-hmm. I want you to show me. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, we say it. We all say it. Even when Sister Soldier was on the show, we all say it. Say it. Like we talk about the signs, but the decisions. We have to. We need to be more responsible for our own decisions, because you only have one life, one breath at a time, one moment at a time, one day at a time, and the only person that can look out for you is you.
That's it.
And can't nobody make a decision for you. I mean, even we play that game, and we be saying, well, it's because you said I need to do it. But the bottom line is, you still have to agree with it, which is a decision. I mean, we really want to blame folk for making our decisions, but the bottom line is, regardless, it still comes down to we ourselves have made the decision.
But we don't want to take accountability for that.
No, we don't want to take accountability for that. Nope.
We don't. We don't want to blame somebody else.
No. Yep. We want to blame people for who we pick to be in the relationship. We want to blame people for how long we've stayed in the relationship if it's a bad relationship. We know we need to get out of it, especially if it's a physically bad relationship. I'm just speaking more to ladies on that one. Not unless you just real kinky like that. I mean, there's some folk, for some reason, like to be hit. I mean, hey, if that's in there's some folk, hey, I don't see it, but hey, the reality is there are some folk. But if that's not you, and you being in a physically bad relationship, it's really your choice. It's your choice. I don't care how much the person has got you in fear. Bottom line, it's your choice. You won't leave it until you finally decide to leave it.
And then with some people, it's like, who's your God? Is it the money?
Mm-hmm.
Some people stay because they'll lose their financial status, their financial security. But is it worth your body? Is it worth, your children seeing you treated that way?
Right.
Is it worth you dying over? Because that's what can eventually happen.
Right. Yeah. It's been. We see the statistics, the news reports. We see it. I witnessed one girl. She was a client when I used to be a cable tech. She was a client, and my first time ever coming up to that, they lived in a trailer. The first time ever coming up to do a work order at that place, the girl had one black eye. It was black too. When I say black, I have never seen a black eye as black as that eye was. Not joking, but that was a black eye. I've seen them brown. I've seen them near kind of shady black, but that was black. Okay. And then like 2 months later, I arrived back over there. This time the lady had both her eyes were black, with bruises on her arm and her face. And all I didn't say nothing the first time because but when I saw her the second time, all I just said to her, I because she knew, all I said to her is, whenever you feel like it's enough. And that's all I said. Because there's nothing else I could say to her. Because you know why? Because I recognize the real truth is that she knows it's bad. She knows that I'm sure she without any kind of smallest of a thought, that she don't like being beat up. Nobody like being beat up. Really? Really? To get punched in your eye so bad it gets black? black? Swole up and everything? Nobody. I mean, if we don't like needles stuck in us, call it pain, then surely we don't like pain from getting beat up. Okay?
I have hit my own eye on a door, and I'm like,
Nobody really, not very, very few people who are into actually being inflicted with pain. It's not that many people. I know it's a few. There's some few people who are out there like that, but for the most part, most people don't like being inflicted with pain. And they'll say avoid pain with all costs. So I'm just saying, it wasn't much I could say. I mean, really, because sometimes you recognize people know, and in the bottom line, you could say 1, 2 words, 10 words, or 1,000 words. Still, bottom line is, won't nothing happen until the person decides to make that choice. It's
people are people, and like you said, until they decide to make a choice to leave that relationship,
yeah,
it's not going to get any better.
I'm gonna give one more confession before we go off this air.
Oh my.
Yeah, this was when I had a guy buddy, a buddy of mine, male friend. He just had lost his girlfriend, broke up with him. He called himself being, his position was that he was very much in love with her, and she left him. The reason actually she left him was because she caught him cheating. Okay, so she left him, but he said he did not want to lose her. Y'all hear how I'm saying? I want folk to hear this now, because this is kind of a common story, a little bit, up to a certain point. But for the most part, this kind of storyline is pretty common. But he didn't really want to lose her. But he got caught. So she left him. And he over there crying and carrying on and all that. Called me up. And actually, he probably would have been a whole lot better. I don't know. Maybe calling somebody else up to hear the sad story. Alright. I'm just saying. But he called me up. Talking about he gonna kill himself. And all that, man. And I was like, okay. So I went over there to his house. And sure enough, he's sitting there with a gun. Trying to make a decision to go on and end it all and all that. And he's sitting there talking about this, sitting there crying and talking about how she left him and she gone and he ain't gonna find nobody else and how much he loved her and all that. And he talking about he just may as well just end it because he ain't got nothing to live for. Now, folks, I know this is gonna cut. This may come. Yeah, y'all got to hear the rest of this because it's gonna be a shocker when y'all hear what I said. I said to him. Now remember, let me throw this out also. And one thing, the guy is a very intelligent person. I know this because he's my buddy. We've had many talks. Okay, all right. Just because we're intelligent, we still make foolish mistakes because we're not perfect. Okay.
Right.
All right. None of us are exempt from that. All right. Now, when he said he may as well kill himself. I, in return, said to him, I said, okay, man, go ahead and kill yourself then. If that's the way you really feel, go ahead and kill yourself. He looked at me and it's like his mind really started thinking. All right. And he actually got mad at me because he thought I was going to sit there and patronize him and, oh man, it's going to be all right. I just told him, man, is that what you're going to do? Is that what you want to do? Go and kill yourself. I mean, you wasting my time. If that's what you really want to do, go and kill yourself. Because, you're intelligent. You know how to think. Go ahead. He turned around after a few minutes, it seemed like a few minutes, but it was only about a minute. And then broke his silence. He was like, now he was cussing. I'm going to tell y'all, but I ain't going to say the curse word. I'm going to put it in some nice words. He was like, Negro, I ought to take this gun and pop your behind for telling me something like that. I like, why you going to shoot me for telling you what you want to do?
That's
it. And he stopped for a second. He was like, man, you think I'm going to kill myself over some girl? I was like, well, why you call me over here? I was like, man, you the one over here tripping? I was like, man, you already know. I said, reason I ain't say nothing else to you because I know you already know there's more women out there. Yes, you might have made a mistake. Yes, you lost her. But you need to move forward, man. You just need to move forward. And a lot of times in these relationships, man, looking for love. We were talking about looking for love. How you know what it is when you find it? Is it, does it act alone? Is it a partnership? We never did get to that part, but it is really a partnership. A lot of people be looking for love for what somebody can do for them,
That's right.
Yeah, do for them. But love is a sharing thing. Well, some people. But yeah, I told that story because, as I was saying, people be looking for love, and that those that say they have found it, and as I said, will you know it if you find it? And some have claimed that they know it's love, and come later on to find out that it wasn't love. Not talking about what they're giving, what the other person's bringing, and find out later that it wasn't love, and find themselves really tore up and distraught and everything about it because it really wasn't love. And I know you were talking about earlier about love at first sight. I guess you convinced me that it possibly could happen. Possibly could happen. Possibly, very rare, but possibly can. You want to tell us how it possibly can?
Can happen.
You could possibly.
I really do believe that.
How does it possibly? Give us a case of how it possibly can.
Hey, like for instance, saying I was talking. I said when I met my husband, when I saw him for the first time, because we met through an internet, website, and I started on the internet website on a Sunday. I met him on the site on a Wednesday. We talked on the site on Thursday. We agreed to meet for dinner on Friday. And when I saw him walk up to me, I can remember everything about it. I can remember what he had on. I can remember his facial expression. I remember everything about him. When I saw that man, I knew. Somewhere deep inside of me, I knew that that was the man for me. And then most people would be like, oh, well, that's wonderful. No, it really wasn't wonderful because it scared me. Because, you know, you always hear about love at first sight, how it can happen. You know, how do you know? But I'm telling you, it's just something that you know. And you just know it. And he knew it too. And we talked about it like months later about, you know, our first meeting and everything and how we literally were both saying the exact same thing. It was like we knew. But neither one of us said anything for like weeks after that about that. Because we were still trying to figure out, okay, what's really going on here? You know, because when it happens, it's not like a thunderbolt. It's just something inherently that you know. You just know.
Mm-hmm.
So when some people say, well, I fell in love at first sight, yeah, because my husband and I talked today, and it was funny because we got to talking about that, and I'm interested that Jay would bring it up. And I told him, I said, after I talked to him that Wednesday on that site, that Thursday on that site, I never went back on that site. Never. And from that day to this, there hasn't been any man that has caught my attention, held my attention the way that he does. I mean, we're all human. We're going to look, you know, here and there. If somebody's attacking, we're going to look. That's just human nature. What I mean is that there's nobody that has captured my attention. And that's the difference. My husband, we see people all the time, and I be like, wasn't she cute? Yeah, but she not cuter than you. Oh, that's cute. You know, and we laugh about it, but that's what's real. You feel me? But it's nothing that anyone has done to capture the attention, the affection, what we have for each other. And from the first time both of us saw each other, we knew it. You know, it's crazy. I didn't tell Jay this part, but this was sharing. When I knew that I was in love with him, but I didn't want to say it. The pride in me didn't want to say it. And he actually had to leave to go to Norway. And he was gone for 2 weeks. And the entire 2 weeks he was gone, I was miserable. Literally, I was miserable. I did not sleep well, you know, because it's a 6-hour time difference. So I was up at like 4 o'clock in the morning because he would be up. And he would text me, you know, throughout the day. Internet, where his village is in Norway, is really rare, you know. So for he and I to even have an opportunity just to say hello was rare. But every day he found a way, in some way or form or fashion, to go down into the town or to the next city to communicate with me, even if it was just for a few minutes. And I never knew when that was going to be, so I kept my phone on me at all times. And he's in Norway, I'm in the States. So Jay is really going to think it's mushy, but it's true. I was on the subway, and I was headed down to southeast D.C. And when you go into the subway system, you come up in certain parts, either on one end of the street or on the other end of the street. So I got off at Navy Yard, and I was intended on coming up on Navy Yard side. So I'm walking, and my phone starts beeping, and it's him messaging me from Norway. So we start talking on Messenger, and I know it has to be quick. So I'm walking, and I'm texting at the same time. And all of a sudden, he texts me. He said, "I love you." And I stopped walking because I realized that, first of all, he said he loved me. Secondly, I had been walking and texting, and I was going in the wrong direction. I was walking towards the stadium instead of the Navy side. So I texted him back. I said, "I love you too." And then he was like, "Oh, I gotta go." Like that. So then he had to go. So I didn't get a copy again for the next day. But the thing is that it wasn't an "I love you" like a friend. It wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? You can tell your friend, like Jay said, you can tell your friend all day, "I love you." You're my friend. I love you. So when you really love somebody and you tell them you love them,
choose a sponsored video. Your content will begin shortly.
And he told me he loved me. That's it. Everything that I had been feeling all of a sudden made sense. Because it wasn't like I was trying to fight it. It was like I was trying to justify it.
Okay.
So I believe in love at first sight. When I saw him, I knew that was the man I was going to be with. And sometimes you just know. Sometimes you just know. You hear about people all the time. It just happens for them like that. They just know. My grandparents were married for 53 years. They knew each other for 2 weeks and got married. You know, I'm like, wow. I didn't want it like that, you know. But you hear about these things, but you really don't hear about them happening in modern times. You hear about them happening in earlier times, and I think that back then we had less distraction. You know what I mean? The world has become a distraction for a lot of people and for relationships to truly develop along natural lines. I do believe that. The world comes into play. And in a lot of cases, you got to keep the world out of your business and out of your relationship. And do you. And see if it makes a difference.
Yeah. Yep.
So I know Jay probably thinking now, "Oh, she's just really sappy." But no, that's what really happened.
No, I believe it's possible it can happen. I think I'm a little bit like you that it's rare. It's not because, as you were saying, in this modern time, we have our minds have been infiltrated with such an illusion, view of relationships and what relationships is, what love is, what let me correct that. What true, authentic love is. We have been infiltrated and brainwashed as a society to a warped understanding of what definitions for words are. We have created our own alternative definition and meanings for words that we, as to how it best fits us and benefits us in things that we desire to do, that whether it's appropriate or inappropriate. So therefore, how can you have a definite structure, as you were putting it, or
Uh-huh.
even insight of what structure is if you have such a warped, misled, or alternative view or perception or understanding on something, on things that actually have validity and depth and solid definition, but we've changed it so much that we as a society don't know what actually is the truth. So how can we see truth?
And that's the other actuality of it is that I wasn't even looking for a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I had just moved to DC. I had been in DC maybe 3 weeks, and I was working my tail off down there at Fort Meade. All I wanted was to have somebody to talk to, to communicate with. And what I was finding was the people that were approaching me, I was like, it was like, what do you call that stuff, armor all, where they rub off, they run off of me, I mean, because they weren't about nothing, they weren't hitting on anything, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna just be me turning back into a workaholic. And that's really the mindset that I was in. I was not interested in being in a relationship, had no intentions of being in a relationship. When he asked to go out to dinner, I was like, well, I was going out to dinner anyway because I had to go eat, So we just meet up at the restaurant, just somebody to talk to. And then it turned into this. My point is that I did not go out seeking a relationship. What I did do, you have people back on church real quick. You have some people that will sit up in church, and I've heard them say it, Lord, send me a man. Lord, send me a husband. I want a husband. Where's my Boaz? I'm Ruth. Where's my Boaz? I'm Esther. Where's my king? And I never prayed that prayer. What I did pray for was that in his timing, please send me the man that you desire for me to be with.
All right.
In his timing, not in my timing. I didn't ask for anything specific. I guess it was specific in a way. I asked him to send me the man that he designed for me to be with, that he destined for me to be with. That's what I asked for. And that's what I got. So when I think that, people, we talked about this before on the show, people pray prayers and they wonder why their prayers aren't being answered. And sometimes no is an answer, first of all. And secondly, are you asking amiss? Or what I call it, are you asking a mess? You really should be mindful of the words that come out of your mouth. You should be mindful of the things that are in your heart. And try to assert that his will be done in your life, not your will. And I'm all for that.
Yeah. And as we get ready to end the show, all that what you were saying, I kind of spoke about that in our last broadcast, which was the first show, really official, but not it wasn't a live show, it was a podcast. But the first show of the year, with my New Year's message for 2016, which spoke about actually paying attention to doing all you can for, really dealing with doing all you can for today, because today is all you have. And as you were saying, when you asking the Lord if it's His will, what the Scripture does say is that why do we boast and go around talk about what we're going to do tomorrow or next year or next couple of months? I mean, it's good to have a little bit of an outline, but not to have so deep of a focus that you're gonna have all next year or tomorrow or next month, because you really don't know. You don't know what circumstances are gonna come up in your life. You really don't know. You might be in a position to actually have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but tomorrow you might be in a position where you're not really in a good place for receiving a boyfriend or a girlfriend. If you hear how I'm saying that, so do all you can today, and it goes on to say that what we should, instead of praying to God for so much, it said we should also ask God like this. That's what the scripture said. If it be His will that we will do such and such this day and that day and whatsoever, as you were saying, Lady K. I just wanted to bring that up. But y'all go back and look at that. That title of that message was called "When Are We Gonna Do What We Know What to Do?" All right, that's the message for 2016. When are we going to do what we know what to do? Okay. All right. So,
all right. And Jay, before we sign off, I would like to say thank you to our listeners out here, which we have picked up viewers on Facebook. We have picked up followers on Twitter. And for that, we say thank you. We really do love the love. We love you back. We appreciate the follows. We appreciate the comments. And just continue to tune in every week. And Jay and I will be right here. And if Jay and I aren't here, Miss Debbie will be here. And Sister Soldier will be here. And a few other people, guests throughout the year, will be here. And we will always promise you this, that we will have a show that's not necessarily to entertain, but to educate.
All right. That's a big amen. Yes, we do thank all of you all for your support. As if it be God's will, we're gonna go higher and higher. Okay.
All right.
All right. So all right, Lady K. I'll see you back on the mic next week. All right. And folks, remember, you can always archive the shows. All right. We out of here. Woo woo.
Relationship.